Hello, everyone. Today is just like any other day. And I was thinking about a few things, but possibly the most important thing on my mind was a friend of mine was supposed to come on the show, and it didn't happen, and things happened, and he didn't come on the show. And then I've been calling him and asking him to come back, and he's ghosted me. Now, this particular guest was going to be a really great guest because has been sober for 4 months, and he was going to start a job, and it was great. However, he's not speaking to me, not picking up his phone. So my worry is that he's relapsed. Now that happens a lot of times, and we talk about second chances, and it's probably more about forgiveness right now. So how do you forgive yourself or forgive someone else for doing something that you think they've done wrong, or forgive yourself for doing something that you shouldn't do, but you do it? Now you have to come back on the train. How do you do that? Well, I don't know. I'm Carina, Break Fear, Find Freedom, and this is Dino. Hey, Dino.
Hi.
Forgiveness, Dino. Like how, someone does something to someone else, right? Or someone does something to you and you feel really bad about it, right? But do you forgive that person, or is it about forgiving yourself? Because if someone falls off the bus, whatever, like me, I love chocolates, right? And I tried not to have chocolates. But sometimes I do, and then I feel really bad. How do you forgive yourself and move on? Or do you just move on?
Yeah, all right. So I get the subject matter, but you started off talking about this one potential guest, right? And everything after that, as far as I'm concerned, I disagree with.
Okay, so that's good, right?
Well, it's a good debate. So he was scheduled to be a guest, right? And you said he ghosted you, and so then the rest of it started with belief. I believe that he's fallen off the wagon, and it was going to be a good show, is what you said. And you said, we're talking about forgiveness, or is it forgiving myself? All these things, as far as I'm concerned, that you just mentioned were assumptions. You don't know it's going to be a good show. And you have no control whether somebody stays on or falls off the wagon.
No.
And what does that have to do with forgiving yourself? Are you angry that they blew you off?
No. I'm talking about.
There's nothing about to be forgived about. I don't get it.
Okay, so I'm talking about myself. So if I'm myself, right? So if I do something and I fall off the wagon,
mm-hmm.
How do I forgive myself and move on? So how do I say, hey, you know what, Carina, you made that mistake. So what? It's life, Forgive yourself, learn the lesson, and move on. A lot of times I find that I'll beat myself up for 3 weeks saying, hey, why did you do that? Why did you fall off the wagon? Why did you eat the chocolates? Why did you do what you did? And then it just destroys my life for 3 weeks. I'm exaggerating now, right? So how do you actually say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to have done that. You're human after all. You're not perfect. How do you move on from that? How would you move on from that?
You just move on. You can feel sorry for yourself and beat yourself up till you're blue in the face, or just like you said, understand that you're human and we're not perfect. We strive for perfection. We'll never reach it. And we have faults. So if you're going to, let's say the example, falling off the wagon, which happens all the time in my world, the sober community, people are like, oh my God, I feel like slapping myself. I feel like punching myself. I feel so bad. Oh, I'm so tired of this, and it's, I get it. You're frustrated, right? But what they don't get is that most of them that are complaining are sober a month. They're sober 3 months. They're sober 2 years. Some sober 5 years. There's no perfect cookie cutter example that I can give you. But in all cases, what they don't realize is, the day you quit, the day I quit was the day that I couldn't even imagine going the next hour without alcohol, because I knew that I would have these horrible withdrawals where you feel like, oh my God, if I don't have a drink, I'm going to die. My skin's itchy. I'm nervous. I'm twitchy. I'm sweating. All the things that really, as far as quitting drugs or alcohol, it's not, well, it's bad on my body. At least this is my take. It's not bad on my body. It's not good for me. I know I need to live a clean life. All those things are great reasons. But the number one reason why people have such a tough time with recovery is the fear of withdrawal. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you talk about somebody that's slipped, that's been sober for a month or a year or 5 years, you've been sober for a month or a year or 5 years. That's by itself incredible. It means that you have bypassed all the physical withdrawals. It's out of your system. What you're feeling is a mental withdrawal. It's mental. It's not physical. It's not in your bloodstream anymore.
Yes.
Not, oh my God, we better give them something so they could detox, because in some cases, if you're really, really severely addicted, like I was, quitting cold turkey could kill you.
Yeah, of course.
Your heart could stop. Okay, so you put that in perspective. So if I've been sober for a month and it's out of my system and I slipped, normally those people that slip catch it that same day. Or worst case, let's say I slipped anyway. I might as well just keep binging for the rest of the week. But eventually they come out of the cloud and they're like, oh, wow, I messed up. But it's almost, you don't carry with it the same addiction because you've been clean for a while. Your body keeps healing.
Yeah.
It takes years to heal, but still a month is enough, right? And people don't look at that the same way as I do. It's just like, wow, holy crap, you've been clean for a month. Give yourself some credit. You know what it's like to be clean. You've passed that fear of withdrawal thing. So the next time you quit, it's more of a mental will. It's not reliant on, oh my God, I hope I don't feel withdrawals. And like me, who didn't want to, I tried quitting a few times before I went into rehab, and I used the emergency room. Perfect example. I was physically sick because my cells in my body were so saturated with alcohol that I was starting to get sick drinking, but I couldn't stop drinking, right?
Yes.
And I remember going into the ER and saying, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm an alcoholic, full-blown alcoholic. And if I don't get something in less than 30 minutes, I'm going to have these crazy withdrawals. Every nurse and doctor said, thank you for telling me this.
Yes. Wow.
And they gave me something to replace my urge, right? And stupid me, as soon as you leave the hospital, you're like, you know what? I haven't had a drink in 12 hours. Let me go get a bottle because I feel better now. It's mind, body, spirit. Now, I don't want to make this a recovery thing. I think you're talking about anything in life. Oops, you make a mistake, you fall down, you skin your knee or whatever, and you get up and you do it again.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So a lot of time
it's forgive yourself for what? I mean, you haven't committed a sin. Drinking isn't a sin. Eating chocolates is not a sin. It's a choice.
Yes.
So there's nothing to feel guilty about. It's just, I'm going to do better next time is maybe an approach. Or you look at your body and you're like, you know what? I've been eating some very rich foods and I'm not really happy with how I look. Okay. You don't have to feel guilty about it. You know exactly why this is happening. It's not like some shocker. You woke up one day and you're like, oh, wow, what happened? You know what happened.
Right.
You know exactly what happened. So, in that case, what do? You actually know exactly what you need to do. The difference is, are you going to do it or not? The will to continue and do it. So what I found is, take immediate gratification and put it in its proper place. Take immediate wins and savor those little milliseconds as well. It's not the end all be all, but it gives you those endorphins that you need to know that you're going on the right track. My big thing early in my business career was that I would do a to-do list every night of things that I didn't get to accomplish that day, right? And then that night list would be carried on in the morning so that me just starting out in business would know, oh, I got to do this, and you add on a few more by morning. I mean, it always happens.
Yes.
But I would get a rush crossing off things off my list, even stupid things like work out, even if it's like 5 minutes. But it was something that I could cross off. And that crossing off, I started equating to something I did that was successful. Right. And so you're never going to usually never going to cross off everything on your list. But, at the end of the day, if you crossed off 70% of your list, you feel good.
Yes.
Now, did we cure cancer?
No.
With that daily list? No. But in my own way, that was a mild hurdle. It's seeing things visually, which is really important, that we're accomplishing towards our goal. So as an example, if I needed to lose 10 pounds, I would break it down into a list. Every 3 days, I want to lose a pound, right? And I would do this. I would make like a calendar and then put the actual weight. And it could be minus, it could be plus. I mean, you're not going to hit it, but it makes you see things like you're closer to your goal. Somebody told me physical action speeds mental acceptance. And that is true.
Wow, that's very true. That's very true.
If you think about it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you could think about things, you could hope things, you can wish things, you could fantasize about things, and all that's great. It's part of dreaming, daydreaming especially. But unless you do physical action, it doesn't make it real, does it? Right?
Yes.
So anyway, I don't know how we got to that point, but that's my deal.
I love that because what I was thinking about a lot of times when you fall off the wagon or whatever, you're so caught up in guilt. And sometimes it's just an excuse, because you get caught up in this like cycle of guilt, blame, shame, and it becomes horrible. And if you just step out for a moment, like you said, and take some kind of action, even if it's a little action, like, I don't know, okay, well, hey, just acknowledge that you made a mistake and start planning or start doing one little thing every day, then it'll make a difference and you can get out of the cycle. Because I think that's basically what I was talking about, is the cycle. So you're in this terrible cycle and then you feel like you have to forgive yourself for something. But really, it's almost like an excuse to get stuck in that cycle. So again, you need to just break out the cycle by doing one little thing, even if it's one little thing on a daily basis.
And the truth is, when you're talking about anything, it doesn't have to be addiction and recovery and so anything, right? You usually know that you're going to break your cycle before you break it. You usually know. And you can tell by little comments or little gestures or just the way people respond. They'll respond extra negative. They'll respond in a different way. Now, I'm a master of patterns, but that's because I'm good at it, right? I've done it all my life. I'm sure psychiatrists and FBI profilers are probably good at this stuff too.
Right, yes.
But it's kind of the same thing. You study mannerisms because in sales, it's all about gestures and comments and the meaning behind words. And you can overanalyze this to death. It really is like a mathematical equation. But when you get good at it, it just takes milliseconds. And you just like, okay, this didn't sound right. I'm not accusing them, but my internal red flag says you're going to need to clarify this statement. Don't we wish we could do that with somebody that you know is ready to fall off the wagon when you hear these little things that they do or say? Right?
Yes.
I suspect that, and who knows? I'm not even picking on your guest because we know nothing about him. At least I don't, especially. Yes. I don't know anything about him.
Yes, well, I don't know much about him, but
the point is, if somebody is not wanting to be found, there's usually a reason. Okay. And so if and I've oh wow, don't want to get real personal, but you hear these college tries all the time. In my personal relationships, you hear the thing, I've decided I'm never going to drink again. I've decided I'm never doing this again. I decided that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, and they're all gung ho, and today I went to the gym. Today I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Today, and that's great. Not knocking that at all, but that's a snippet of time that you're showing me. And then, is it consistent? Is it manageable? Is it realistic? Is it? Can you maintain that? Right? If it's an unsustainable state, right? I can work out and I could get 3 times as big. Yes. Easily.
Yes.
And I've done it in my life. But do you know what it takes to sustain that state? You have to eat when you're not even hungry, and you have to take, I do, protein powders and just kind of shove it down your throat, and you got to like almost live in the gym, and you got to buy gym things, and you got to say gym phrases, and it's a lifestyle. It's not just I'm going to try it and this is how I'm going to look. Good luck. But then you ask yourself, and some people, it's okay. Are you willing to dedicate 4 hours every day of your life to sustain this look? And if the answer is no, like it's good if you got nothing else going on. But if you actually have a life outside the gym, or a job, or a commitment, or a relationship, or all of the above, what you're going to find is you're going to be putting it off. Well, today I don't have that time. Well, today I'm just going to do an hour. Well, I got up late, so I can't. Well, today I have a meeting. And those 4 hours suddenly become less and less and less important in your life. And then what you do is you start getting mad. Oh my God, why don't I look the way I want to look? You know exactly why you don't look the way you do.
Yeah.
Because you know that to look this way, you got to have this much time every day, and you got to eat this much. And look, ignorance is bliss, but what I am still finding out, and probably forever finding out, is that we all know what it takes to derail, and we all know what it takes to get on track again. We know. It's just that we're not willing to do it, or we're easily disrupted or distracted or whatever. It's like saying, I'm going to quit smoking, but then you're dating a smoker. And then eventually that urge becomes too much. And then you're like, well, they were smoking, so I started smoking again.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes.
It happened to me. But how bad do you want to stop smoking? Are you just not smoking? I mean, so it comes back to willpower. I don't know what's going on with your friend. There could be multiple reasons, but number one, Carina, and I know you're an empath and everything, but it's not your problem. The only thing you could be is have the door that's open with conditions if they ever resurface and they're somebody that you choose to want to have into your life. But it's with conditions. The same way I have conditions. I will help people. I will listen to their problems. I will counsel them. I will support them. And this goes for a business question. This goes for a charitable cause. This goes for the recovery community. This goes for somebody that's depressed.
Yes,
there's a lot of different things that I do. But in saying that, I'm not just because I represent philanthropy doesn't mean that I should take down all my guard and all my defenses and just be a bumbling boob, right? I mean, I have filters. I have to have qualifications. I have to say, I will help you, but how badly do you want this? Because I don't want to care about this more than you do, right? I don't want to inherit a problem. I want to be assistance in the solution, right? So this thing that you're feeling as an empath, is kind of dangerous, in my opinion, because you feel everything almost to the point where you make it your personal problem. And as noble as it is to care about people, not at the expense of your own health.
Yes.
Did I go too far? Did I step on a line?
No, it's something that I'm working on a lot. It's always been like that. So it's easy to just give and give and give. But then you're left with nothing. And I mean, what is that point there? So it is about boundaries. It's about boundaries and saying, okay, well, hey, you know what? I'm giving you this, but now it's up to you. I've called you or whatever. You must get on with your own life. I mean, I'm not responsible for your life.
And they may come around. Michael Jordan's a great example. Let's talk sports. Everybody likes sports. Here's a good one. Okay, so Michael Jordan, my opinion, greatest guy ever. Not only because of his physical ability, but because even when you talk about quarterbacks, it's not usually that they could throw that perfect spiral or how far they could throw it. It's usually because they were a leader. Their mind was just as powerful and as charismatic as their body.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So all those things equals Michael Jordan. Age, right? And time weathers down anybody. So his mind's still sharp. Actually more in my opinion, because it gains wisdom as you get older, but the body, you can't do the things that you used to do. I'm learning this too. I can't jump like I was 7. I'm learning that every day. So Jordan buys a basketball team, right? And now Jordan's the coach.
Yes.
And he not only is not always had a successful winning team, and they've lost games. They've lost games that they should have won. I mean, you could say that about any team. Never, ever, at least as far as I know, did Jordan ever excuse himself, go in the back in the locker room, take off his suit up, and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm playing because I want to win." He's never done that, right?
Yes.
So he's a coach now. He's accepted and assumed his role as a coach. He's there to inspire. He's there to tell people about his experiences and share his tremendous wisdom about the game. But he's not there to play the game for them, right?
Right.
So if the team loses, okay, we're all going to feel bad, but we have our health, and there's multiple games in the season, and he's thinking about different ways to train people for different strategies. But again, even with more training and adjusting your game plan, he's still a coach in a suit, sitting on the sidelines, not playing. What we're doing, and everybody has a tendency, I found, to do, is we want to be so immersed and consumed in the people that we help, we almost start doing the work for them. And having these assumptions that they want this as badly as we do for them. And what you find is you're living their life, and pulling them instead of guiding.
Yes. And sometimes they don't want.
And I'm not an empath, and I've never always been a philanthropist. And I have had a storied 40-year career in business where I was the most selfish, self-absorbed SOB you've ever met in your life. But it was, for me, winning was everything. And get out of my way because you're a nuisance, right? And even then, when I had all these big plans and big ideas and all this stuff, and you have an entire team, like 300 employees working for you that are being paid money, lots of money, some of them, to have a professional approach to what they're saying. Hey, I'm a marketer, right? Okay, how much do marketers make? Well, they make this much. Ooh, that's a lot, but you're a professional marketer. I'm going to pay you. So I pay these people. Then I'd be like, what's going on? Well, I don't know. What do you think I should do? You're the marketer. I'm paying you, and I'm telling you what to do. So almost always in my life, and this isn't their fault, this is mine, I would bypass the let's leave them alone and trust that they're professionals. I wouldn't trust anything. And I would say, you know what? Here's how you're going to do it, and follow me. Oh, you can't do it? You can't tie your shoelaces? Oh, let me do it. Let me tie them. Come on, let's go. All the while still paying them, and all the while them accepting my money.
Of course.
It doesn't sound fair when I break it down to this ridiculous level. But it's like everything else in life. You become what you allow others to do to you. And so, at this stage of my life, it's just really funny because I have all this wisdom, I have all this experience. I try to avoid the same pitfalls that I've experienced over 40 years. And now it's in the name of good. But just because it's in the name of good doesn't change the game. People will still come and try and test you. People will still come and say, well, you're helping people. You might as well help me. Why? Make me a believer of why I should help you. Tell me why you want this more than I want it for you. You should be like the most salivating, drooling individual to accomplish the goal that you're so passionate about, or that you need funding on, or that you need counsel on, right? Not me.
Yes.
But a lot of times it turns out I'm the guy who does the wake-up call. I'm the guy who goes, hey, come on, let's go. I'm the rah-rah cheerleader. And I'm thinking, why am I so concerned about their goal more than they are? But they'll let you if you let them.
Yes,
right?
yes. And you know what I found, the worst part of this is you work with these people and you carry them. And then at the end of the day, they resent you for it because, hey, they do, because it's like, whoa, you know what? I didn't want this. You wanted it, and I don't want this anymore. Or for me, I've done a lot of the pro bono work. So, okay, you want this? Come, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. Come on, let's do it. I'll do it. I don't care. You don't have money. And then what happens is they get to a point where they'll go and employ someone to help them further, and they'll resent me, or they won't value my services, and it's only because I'm not valuing it.
Well,
so
that's okay. So that's a business 101. I'm going to leave it with this. I'm kind of running out of time, but here's a business lesson, right? And a lot of people have heard it called various different things. But number one, if you're a business person or just talking about personal life, it's called setting the stage. It's basically announcing what you will do and why and how. I'm this. It's almost like saying, I'm not a pushover. I'm not a fool. It's going to cost you something to take a piece of my soul or to have my time. And I know it sounds standoffish. It's not meant to be. But setting the stage is a very, very important first step in any business relationship. And I'm finding any relationship, period. Because it establishes the expectations of the other. If I go into something now and it's just like, oh, well, it sounds good. All right, let's do it. And we'll figure it out later. How many times do we do that? We'll figure it out as we go along. You haven't set the stage. So you're constantly testing each other. Where if you set the stage, you'd be like, hey, remember when we started? I said this, this, and this. I'm not feeling it. And you have to always kind of reestablish that line.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It's called setting the stage. The second part, which I can't cover today, but the second part is your worth. Okay? Free is a great word. People respond to free. People love free. You hear it all the time. It's free. And most people that hear free, they're like, what's the catch? Right? Let's just pretend free is free. There is no catch.
There is no catch, yeah.
With me, I don't even care if I didn't have money. With me, I would rather pay something for a service than get it for free. Because I value it more.
Yes.
Because people are so conditioned to pay for a service. Okay? And so when you give something away for free, the expectation is, which I know is not true, but the expectation is that, yeah, I'm getting all this help, I'm getting this counseling, but it is free. I mean, in their mind, they're thinking because it's free, it must mean that it's the bottom of the barrel service. Right?
Yes.
A Rolex watch keeps the worst time in the world. The worst time. You want to get an accurate watch, I'd rather get a Timex than a Rolex. Of course, at a pawn shop, they don't care about a Timex. They care about Rolexes.
Yes.
I used to buy Rolexes only because it looked nice. It was a piece of jewelry. And I knew that if I was ever in a pinch, I could go anywhere and not get full value for it, of course, but I'd get money on the spot for it. Yes. That's how I used to think, right? I have a Rolex because it's a status symbol. I have a Rolex because it's a piece of jewelry. I have a Rolex because it's recognized the world over. Is it the best at keeping time? No. So why do people buy a Rolex instead of a Timex? Because it's the value they feel that it's worth that money. So they pay, right? And the ones that can't afford it don't say, oh, you're a sucker for buying a Rolex. They're like, oh, wow, must be nice, right?
Yes.
Imagine a service that you're providing that had the same mentality. Ooh, You're being counseled by Carina? Oh, must be nice. I can't afford her class, but I wish I could. Instead of, oh, that's free.
That's free.
Here's one. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, that's for another show. These business lessons I love doing. But to answer your question about guilt. Guilt about what? I mean, at the end of the day, we're not living somebody else's life. We're living our own. And it's not selfish to live our own lives. And if we're going to get involved in somebody else's life, it's to direct, it's to spark, it's to nudge, it's to encourage, it's not to live.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So that's all I got for that. Good show.
Good show. Well, thank you, Dino.
Thank you.
It was a good show, and thank you, everybody else. And we'll see you next week. I'm just there's something that I need to just put out there. We're talking about free. I've got the self-love challenge that we did in January, and I know, but it was a great challenge. It's going to be up. It's up in the Break Fear, Find Freedom group. So if you want to do it, just join the group, and let's have some fun in there. That's about all I've got. What have you got before we go?
That's it. It was a good week. Hope you guys have a good weekend. I gotta go. I gotta run.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Take care.
See ya.